Some of the most popular games to implement time travel treat time as destinations, places to be traveled. Chrono Trigger, Ocarina of Time, Dark Souls. And that's not the only style, but it seems to be the prevailing one. It's cool and all, but I really like and wanted to highlight what Dishonored 2 and Titanfall 2 accomplishes in just one level of each of their games. I don't know for sure, but I think these are the first games to have instant time travel implemented as a mechanic. Titanfall 2's Effect and Cause,
Overseer requests all teams working on the
and Dishonored 2's A Crack in the Slab.
By the void.
Christoph Carrier, the lead level designer of Dishonored 2, was inspired by Bioshock 2's Outer Persephone level. In it, you take the POV of the scary little girls, the little sisters, and from their eyes, the whole world is pristine and beautiful, but you know, this underwater city is a dilapidated piece of shit. What was crazy though was that everything changed instantly, as soon as you swap perspectives. No loading. That's pretty inspiring from a design perspective. Also, the art style and setting seemed very similar to Dishonored 1, so I'd understand why Carrier would think to apply it to that game. Jake Keating, the senior designer on Titanfall 2, said he was inspired by the History Channel's Life After People. I'm serious. It's a morbid thought experiment of what would happen if all humans on Earth disappeared instantly, from the house pets to the food to the buildings and even the bugs. The hierarchical structure of life on Earth would change like crazy, and the show gives us a cool PS2 cutscene demonstration of unkempt houses overrun with plant life to illustrate it, and it's pretty cool. It's like boomer slop before TikTok. The point is, old shit everywhere, and people instantly disappearing. It's probably why Titanfall 2's modern version of the map has no human enemies, just wildlife. Yeah, so both of these levels use instant time travel. It's very impressive, and it works like this. Both versions of the map are loaded in at the same time. And the time travel is just a toggle button. They put a bunch of glitter and shit on the screen with some warbly ass noises to go with it, and when you press it, this shit feels like the power of God in your hands. And I say it like that because it's really broken in both of these games. They couldn't get super complicated with the level designs because it's the only level in both of these games that feature it. Don't want to frustrate the player by overburdening them, you know, and you don't want to overload your team either. This is amazing. Dishonored has an item that lets you monitor everyone's movements in the past. And this isn't just like a radar either. It's an actual window into the past. And my computer could definitely feel it because I noticed a few frames dropping when I used it. In practice, it is incredible and so easy, unless you're going for a Mercy or Shadow challenge run. The present is pretty much total safety, even the enemies that aren't really a big deal, so you just feel way too powerful to stop in the past.
So bad. Haven't seen the kids in 2 years.
I'd say in Titanfall there's a lot more of a balance in difficulty halfway through the level. The wildlife rushes you down while the human opponents make it difficult for you to nail them with shields. All you gotta do to stay alive is just keep moving, and that makes the level very exciting. The coolest part of Effect and Cause though is how progression and switching feels seamless and intuitive thanks to the level design. As soon as you see a roadblock in the level, you are trained from the beginning to think, I gotta warp time. Door closed, warp, ambush, warp, empty platform, warp, only one wall to run on, warp, and this is one of my favorites. Oh, it's really fucking cool. It's just so good and simple. It establishes a very basic rule and uses it for marvelous moments. Dishonored 2 does a lot of the same thing, but instead of platforming and obstacles, it's obstacles and puzzles. I say that with a pretty casual tone though, it's like these puzzles are more of just a proof of concept. Although it does feel a little more in-depth in practice than Titanfall 2 in the sense that you do things in the past to trigger things that happen in the present. It's not as complicated as it sounds though. You just listen and read what's in front of you. The game literally just tells you how to solve something.
Maybe it's open in the present.
It's not exactly bending your mind, but it is a very cool application of the mechanic. I don't think the novelty wears off even when the level is over for either of these games too. They leave you wanting more. These levels are laborious, ill-advised, money pit labors of love that take up like a tenth of the game's runtime, despite probably being one of the hardest levels to design for both of their teams. And I understand why. You're building two different maps, loading both of them with missable secrets, and it's an unusual level design in comparison to the rest of the game, breaking the flow you've had in production. The art direction is different, and it revolves around a mechanic that's completely new to the game. Not only is it interesting to see how the same mechanic can be applied to radically different games for different uses, it's also a relatively unique mechanic that I feel hasn't been explored to its full depth. It's a rare thing to have something like this in the hyper-competitive, efficiency-obsessed AAA market, and this deserves its flowers. Rest in peace, Arcane, and Respawn Entertainment might as well be dead, working for EA and all. I'm sure there have been experiments of this mechanic in the indie scene, so I'd like to ask you, what games out there, if any, accomplish something similar to these two levels? If they're fun, I'll cover them. And thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe, my main thing is talking up indie games and an occasional gameplay video where I goof around with friends. Videos like this one are a little more rare. Alright, later.